what we're doing in this video is not an 8-track, is a National Panasonic stereo cassette deck 612. I believe it's from about 1978. I've had this a lot of years, but it's been sat in the garage for a while. So it's time to pull it out, give it a service, and put it back into use. This is a 30-degree tape deck, so the door and the tape deck sits in an angle, like so. They only did that for 2 or 3 years in the late 70s before they went to the upright one where the door held the cassette in place. This was very much a crossover from the old tabletop tape decks of the early 70s to the 80s ones with the tape deck in the door. And because they were only done like this for a very short period of time, I like them. They're a bit unusual. But anyway, this one, you've got your usual transport functions: eject, record, rewind, fast forward, play, stop, pause, a timer standby switch, mic left and right, record level, Dolby in and out, so that will be Dolby B, your high-low bias, and your 70 and 120 microsecond equalizer, record light, counter. That's about it. So without further ado, let's get it open and check it all. Get in it, you literally have one screw at the bottom. This slides over and then you can pick it off. And we're in the bottom. Only modern stuff was that straightforward. So looking in here, this is the underside of the cassette deck. And the belt is very loose indeed. So that will definitely need doing. I don't think I've got one like that, but we'll have a look. I might be able to, I might get away with it. That all generally looks okay. Perhaps do no, the grease and everything still looks good. Record. That looks good. Couple of inline fuses, I do like to see that. So, right, let's get in the top. So using a bit of IPA, we'll clean the heads, capstan, pinch roller, etc. Obviously this is speeded up because it'd be boring watching me do it in real time. So here we go, cotton bud, IPA, clean, 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 clean. So what we're doing now we've turned it over and we're getting the retaining plates and the which is also the bearing off the flywheel underneath. The flywheel is obviously goes right through the deck and is got the capstan on the other side. You'll see I've just removed the plate. It's attached with a spring and pulled the belt off. The belt was sort of stuck to the deck, and obviously now we'll pull that flywheel out, IPA out again, and give it all a good clean. We need to get all remnants of the belt and any oxidization off that flywheel, and get a nice smooth clean finish so the belt rides on that flywheel nice and smoothly, and obviously doesn't get stuck to any old residue. This is important. It is very, very clean, and also just put a little bit of lube on the base of that so the capstan spins nicely in its bearing, and there'll be a little bit of lithium grease go into the little plastic bearing on that retaining plate for the end of the flywheel so it all spins nicely. So let's get it back together. It took an absolute age, but it is clean. There's a bit scratched. I've had to scrape some of it off, but that's now nice and clean, so we'll put that back in there. Like so. I don't know why that's moving about, but anyway, that'll be fine when that's back on. So let's have a look. They're flat belts. Let's see if we've got anything suitable in here. Otherwise, I have to order a belt. Something a little bit bigger, perhaps. Obviously, it wants to be a bit smaller than this because it has stretched, but I'll certainly do for now. I think I will order the correct belt though. On there, it all evaporates. I'll tip it over. And I think that'll work for now, so I will order the correct belt, I think. Since I've got to order a belt for the Hitachi. So, right, let's turn it back over. Plug it back in. Power back on. Cassette in. And we have rewind, fast forward, counter's working. Not particularly speedy fast forward, but and play. we have a little bit of movement. Not a lot though. I don't really know what's on it, so let's get up. The tape, and we will go with Kiss Crazy Nights. We've got a little bit of movement there. And the left hand side is okay, but nothing on the right hand side. Of course, again, this is where really I need the test tone tape to see, because that meter's going. So next stage with the tape deck, we will demagnetise the head. So as it says on there, demagnetise heads, cleans capstan and pinch roller, automatically reverses. I used to have a demagnetising wands type thing, but I don't know where it's gone, so a friend has kindly lent me the demagnetising tape. So in it goes. You can also see how the 30-degree slope works, so I quite like it because you can sort of see the tape just lying there all lit up. The door is just literally a door, just like a dust cover. So let that work its magic. And what I'm going to do now is check the speed, the wow and flutter, etc. using a test tape. So put that in, and you can see, focus, we want the first bit, there we go, the 3000 Hertz tone. And that will determine our speed and wow and flutter. Right, and where we can see we are, it's not the most stable, but we are pretty much around the right speed, from, you know, just below 3000 Hertz to a little bit over, but it's not very stable, so I'm not overly happy with that. It's going from what, 29.7 right up to 30.90, so that's quite a big spread, so I'm not really happy with that, so we'll have to investigate a bit further. So again, different meter here, and we'll check what's what. It's just you can't hear it because it's not connected to an amp. And there we go, there is our 3 kilohertz tone. Put that on 3 kilohertz, press start. And yeah, we are basically more or less spot on. So yeah, a little over as it's settling down a little bit, just a little over, so it's a little fast, but not too bad. With a wow of flutter, that is quite high at 1.2, 1.3. So yeah, let's move that up a bit. There we go. So yeah, we're around the 1.3, 1.4. So that is quite a lot of wow and flutter there. And the speed has dropped a bit. That's interesting. The speed has dropped quite a bit, and it is still dropping. Oh no, it's good. So obviously this is a very old tape deck, 1978. But I'll have to look up what the manufacturer's specs are. But yeah, speed's dropping. Oh, well, it's shot back up a little bit there. Dropping. Oh, it's dropping even more now. So I think we're going to have a good look at the motor, maybe a bit of lubrication on the motor or the capstan, and yeah, but I'll look at the manufacturer's specs and then we'll go from there, I think. So looking up the specs, the wow and flutter should be 1.13%. So even if we forget the peak and just look at the RMS, we're at 0.8. So we're a long way off there. And as I said, I'm not happy with that speed. It's sometimes slowing right down to 2920s, and then sort of popping back up again. So I think we need to give this a further service, I think, in as far as a bit of lubrication and whatever of the motor and the capstan and what have you. So yeah, next job then. So a little bit later, we've given the motor a bit of a lube and cleaned the capstan bit, mounting points and shafts, and a bit of lube there. And while, as you can see, the speed is still perhaps a little bit erratic at times, and just as I've said that, it's shot up a little bit, but the wow and flutter was down at, there we are, I was sinking back down again, that was down at sort of 0.3, 0.4, which is still way above manufacturer's specs, but those were manufacturer's specs back in 1978. I will just keep an eye on it. I'll probably run it backwards and forwards a few times, just to make sure the lube and everything has got in everywhere. Possibly just bring the speed up a tad, but I think what I'm going to do now is actually play an audio tape through it and just see how it sounds. If it sounds okay, I'll probably leave it alone, but I said I might just nip the speed up just a fraction. But yeah, so I'll keep playing around with it and see how we get on. So with some music playing, we are using a bit of Mr. Cooper, the Trash album. Just thought it was sort of period correct. Not sure exactly what year this was. I don't know if it says. Oh, this is 1989. That's 11 years newer. Blimey. But yeah, so as you can see, we've got that going in Audacity, and we've chord levels all seem about what you'd expect. The needles are moving about nicely. Again, obviously no one needs a good clean up, but we'll worry about that later. And yes, I'll just let that play through for a bit and go and see how it sounds. So, how does it sound? Now obviously I've got to be a bit careful here of copyright, and it's not going to sound brilliant because this is coming through the laptop speakers, but fair bit of hiss there. What's dying down? Ooh, a lot of hiss. That is an awful lot of hiss. And I don't know if you can hear, that sounds awful. Oh dear, that is terrible. That really is terrible. So yeah, I'm not at all happy with this at the moment. This, just, you may or may not be interested, but this is the 3000 Hertz tone played through Audacity. In this instance, I've just played it through the headphone output on a mono plug in there, so it's the same on both channels. And as you can see, that it's gone back to, which I didn't want it to do. So there we go, we're back to where I wanted, and you can see that should be a nice, even, steady tone. And as you can see, it's not. And you can hear what we'd call the wow and flutter. So yeah, that is what a 3000 Hertz tone sounds like on a tape deck with very bad wow and flutter and speed problems. But we will endeavour to sort them. So after giving everything a good clean up again, adjusted the speed, lubricated the motor and the flywheel and what have you, that certainly looks better. So we've got just over a minute of recording there, so let's see what it sounds like. Well, it's still not brilliant, but certainly better than it was. Let's see, wait for the vocals, and we'll see what the vocals sound like. Oh, that's still not good. That's still not good, so let's go back to this, and let's get rid of Mr. Cooper, get the test tone back in, and a 3 kHz test tone, and we wait. I'm going to put it on the 3 kHz, start. And any second now. Any second now. There we go. Put it up at that one. So as you can see, now we've lubricated everything, the speed is much closer to where it needed to be. Obviously there's less stuff dragging now. Still dropping down a little bit, but it is much closer to where it needs to be. Obviously I'm looking up there at frequency. It's a 3000 kHz tone, and that's at 2991 to 2997, so it's just slightly running slightly slow. The wow and flutter though is still atrocious. Ever so slightly better than it was, but still not good at all. Not good at all. So yeah, right, let's try. Let's come out of there, back into Audacity. Record. Let's try recording this test tone. Again, you can see there lots of wow and flutter there. That's not a nice clean tone. So yeah, this tape deck is proving harder to get right than I'd initially hoped. Plus, that meter's packed up again. Although, as you can see, it is working on both channels, so it is just the meter. But, more work, I think. So, let's see how this sounds. Now, it keeps playing up between only one channel working. So, we'll... I've given everything a clean up, so we'll see how it goes this time. Right, so let's stick in the test tape. Rewind. So this is one thing I don't like. There is no auto stop on the rewind and fast forward. The auto stop only works on the play, and that is because you probably can't see, but the little lever here, when the tape tension increases, that gets pushed down and that connects the auto stop, but that is down when the heads are down, so it's only operational when the heads are up and in play. I'm not keen on that, but anyway, test tape in.
Speed calibration tones.
And again, we're only on the right hand channel. It's a bit annoying.
3000 hertz.
But anyway, for now, what we're after is that tone to be as high pitched as possible. And again, you probably can't see, but obviously there we want that to be as high as we can, so see us dulling down. It's dulling down again, so somewhere in between them two. Looks about as good as we're going to get that. Noisy there, so stop, turn it off, give that a bit more of a clean up, and then we'll come back and see how it is. So there we are, it's back together. Let me just stick this under there so hopefully you can see it a bit better. So if we turn it on, still have the test tape, let's just rewind that. Do. Still only on the right hand channel, but as I said, that seems to vary, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. But we have a nice steady tone. Or steady-ish anyway. What we got here? 1984 original Marillion. So let's try a bit of Marillion. Okay. Oh, what we got? A bit of Mr. Cooper. Still not brilliant. So, but I honestly think it's about as good as it's going to get, really. This isn't going to be my main deck, because as much as I do like it, oh, that's interesting. A lot of static coming off it. As much as I do like it, I like the whole 30-degree slant tape deck. The reality is, it's from 1978. It's never going to sound as good as a modern 3-head deck. Obviously the record is nowhere near as good as a modern 3-head deck, and a modern 3-head deck, obviously you can monitor your recordings. So it's a deck I like, a deck I shall probably keep, but it's not going to be my main deck, so it doesn't matter too much if it's not perfect, but I would like to get it a little bit better than that. So there we go. That, in terrible light, is the National Panasonic stereo cassette deck model RS612. from 1978. Again, the wow and flutter is a little bit higher than I would have liked, but we are talking a 42-year-old tape deck. Both channels are now working and it sounds fine, so good enough. So all that remains to be said is like, share, subscribe. Gotta love a VU meter. And I'll see you in the next one. Ta-da!